welcome to the Daft Souls podcast. My name is Matt Lees, and today I'm not joined by Quentin Smith. I am joined by special guest John Blythe.
Hello.
You're a special guest.
I enjoy being defined as not Quentin Smith. You set me onto a loser straight away.
Well, that's not true at all. That's not true at all.
No, I'm better than Quentin. He's going to shit when he hears that.
Oh, you've pushed me into a corner and punched me in the ribs repeatedly.
Hello, I'm John Blythe.
John Blythe and Gav Murphy.
Hello, also not Quentin Smith.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
And also not John Blythe.
No, I mean, you've got it twice as hard, haven't you, Gav?
This is bullshit.
So I think this week's podcast might be a little bit of a redux of last week's podcast. For those of you guys listening, we talked a bit about Metal Gear Solid 5 and we talked about Until Dawn right at the end. Jim talked about that. I don't know if you guys have played that or not.
I have, yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool.
If I say anything that's too similar to anything last week, I'm very sorry, but I haven't listened yet.
No, I'm not expecting you to.
Yet. I did say yet. I have no intention of listening.
I'm not expecting you guys to know what happened last week. I'm just letting people know at home that we'll cover some similar games. But to be honest, that's likely to happen for a little while, especially with Metal Gear Solid 5, because I'm playing that a lot at the moment, and it's going to take me a long time to get through it or get over how lovely it is.
I think this is seeing nice into a Metal Gear chat, but I think the best way it's been set up, almost like in a Skyrim type way, where it's like this amazing open world fun map that you can just do whatever you want with, and people are going to do. No one's going to have the same experience with it, so you probably will be talking about it for years.
I think for now, I'm really keen to talk about it in a way which avoids spoilers.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say briefly, actually, it's fascinated me how people's understanding of spoilers just doesn't align with mine at all in terms of what people think is okay and not okay to spoil.
I just got accused of spoiling something, so this is interesting.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Literally.
Well, don't tell me what you've been accused of spoiling.
No, I'm going to fucking say it again.
I was going to say. It's a minefield.
Do you think, right? No.
That's one thing I've never minded spoilers, because you could tell me the end of a game and I'd still go, oh, how's it going to get to that end? And I knew that was going to happen.
No, I don't want that.
You could do that. Maybe in the cases of what is the last Cylon? Maybe that's not the same, but
yeah. What is a Cylon?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thing of.
If you told me someone was going to die in Game of Thrones, I wouldn't give a shit.
I clocked somebody, you see, on Twitter who was completely bang on. I think it was Games Writing as his handle. He's a dev. He's a nice guy, but he was saying about how he's like, without fail, it's the exact same people on Twitter who spent the entire week before Metal Gear Solid 5 came out saying, if people spoil this game, I'm going to be so mad. Then just sitting on Twitter all day spoiling it.
That's awful.
I think it's true because
what kind of stuff are they posting up?
Well, I think that people think that it's not that people. No one's posting about story stuff. No one's going, oh my god, I can't believe this reveal.
Yeah.
Well, but people are blind to their own behaviour, aren't they? They're acutely aware of their own bad behaviour when they see it in others.
It's true, but I also think that people think, when they think of spoilers, they think of it as being plot elements, and they think of it being like, don't tell people what happens in the story. And they fail to realise that actually, like most people, especially a lot of people I know, aren't playing games like Metal Gear Solid 5 for the story. Like, they're playing it...
because they don't understand it.
It's like, you'll enjoy it a bit, but you won't know what's going on. But you'll be like, it's another robot. I don't know why. It's the Russians, maybe. But no, you're playing it to discover stuff. Because for me, that's what it's always been about. It's always been about... Those games are so rich and so full of little interesting things to discover that it's the joy of being like, what's this?
Finding
what does this
weird.
do?
Yeah,
you find out weird things.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I wish Twitter had been around for Metal Gear Solid 1, because if someone had tweeted the frequencies on the back of the actual box of the game, it would have saved me fucking days of fanning about.
It's on the box, Snake.
No, the box, not the cardboard box. Get out of that box.
I'm kind of with you on this, because one of the cool things about 5 is finding these tapes with these different songs on.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing people tweeting going, just found blah 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 song. It's like, I want to find that. I want to find it and be like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's this thing of it's fine if it's just one thing from one person, but what people don't seem to realise is that within a few days, you've got, all of the musical tracks in the game are.
Yeah.
What all of the companions are.
Yeah.
What all of the cool gadgets are. Just because people one guy just posted I've had to unfollow so many people, just people going, this is funny little screen grab. And in the background, there's so many little I'm like, I didn't know about that stuff.
Yeah.
Someone posted an end of mission summary screen, and I've not got very far at all because I've not got much time, but
You see, I didn't know that, and you've just spoiled it.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know that.
Well, there was just a at the bottom of the screen.
Oh right, yeah. Well, that's a perfect example.
We'll beat that out.
We'll have that one. Yeah, we will. We will beat that one out. Okay. Won't beat this out, you fucking prick. No, I'm not really angry. It's fine. But no, that is that sort of thing, and it's just been unbelievable because it's like I don't have time to play this enough. But I found myself now rushing through a game which is really
Not meant to be
rushed, just because I don't want to have things spoil for me. And I find that really frustrating because it's just like, guys, come on. Because it's the way that the game is being crafted. And the reason I'm so impressed with Metal Gear Solid 5, it's just so rich and dense. It's like a compacted biscuit.
Yeah, I like the way they just give you
You really elegantly addressed both the issues of richness and denseness there in that biscuit analogy.
I've eaten a lot of biscuits today, right? There's some biscuits on the brand.
I just like the idea where they give you the tools to do stuff and then you just go off and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We don't care. Do it however you want to do it.
I think what's amazed me most about it actually is I've always been a kind of like a boring bastard with these games, and I've been like, no, I'm not going to get seen. I'm going to be super stealthy. Whereas in this, I actually enjoy going off the rails a bit, which is something usually I don't like. I didn't like it in Dishonored. Dishonored was like, be a stealthy guy, but then I didn't actually get much.
Too much off the rails in Dishonored, though, was there? It was all a tightly knotted ball of free will. Yeah.
When I say like going off the rails, I mean like I'm going to kill some people.
Right. Okay.
Oh, right.
In Dishonored, I always felt like when I was going on a murderous spree, that I'd messed up. And I didn't really take much glee in it, even though they really made an effort to make it so that the stabbing was all very nasty.
Yeah.
I think
that's what it is. Like feeling like you fucked up. And like this doesn't, I don't think 5 makes you feel like that at all.
Unless you get to the end of level screen where it says it gives you all the things you did that fucked your score up, which is all the things you're just talking about now.
I don't feel like it's...
And you get called a chick.
I'm an octopus now.
I don't feel like it's as bad. I think the new...
it doesn't make you feel better in the actual mission. Yeah. It's still fun to play, yeah.
The new Splinter Cell was like that as well. Like the new, instead of at the end of the level being like, oh, this is what you've messed up on, they give you a rank, but like you're weighted in terms of like 3 different things. So I think it's like they're animals, and I can't remember them, but it's just basically like a vole. No, it was like 3 different animals. One of them is stealth. One of them is like completely all out, and then one is in the middle. I think it's like panther.
I think that's what this does.
Yeah.
It basically just measures how you're doing across the board, and then gives you a different rank. But basically means if you want to go for just all out offensive, blowing stuff up, then it will just give you a rank for that, and just goes, all right, this is the sort of person you are. You're the sort of person who blows everything up.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's fine. You're getting it done.
Yeah.
And even though actually I like that it isn't a case of being like, oh, forget it, I'm just going to shoot everyone.
Yeah.
I remember in Metal Gear Solid 4, that was always like the resort of like, I can't be bothered, I'm just going to kill everyone.
Yeah.
It was always really easy. Whereas in this, it's like, if you decide to go in guns blazing, that's quite hard in its own regard.
Really hard,
some of the bases, when you've got lots of things coming after you, it's like,
I did a bit last night. I've got my housemate's brother staying with me at the moment, and he's a gamer, so he was sitting behind me while I was playing. I was like, I don't care about talking to you. I'm just going to do Metal Gear, and like, I'm sorry if you have to watch it all. And he was like, no, I'm into it. And it was this bit where I was just like doing everything amazingly, and I was running through this base, and I was like, oh my god, this is done perfect. And then I just like sort of looked. I was like, oh, that rocket launcher looks really good. It's like, don't worry. Just run off, and then I'm going bunk, 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 like shooting like, you know, like the mortars that go like in the air and just land. I was just like, oh, if I shoot this more, that'll blow up, boom.
If I just fire this rocket launcher, that's gonna blow up. you are brilliant.
This week on Science with Gavin Murphy.
The thing is, like, if I'd seen that at the beginning, that's how I would have done it.
Yeah, well, I actually took a while to play around with explosives myself, because I was like, well, no, it's a stealth game, and then it was like, well, actually, I want to see what it got to the point where I thought,
they put it in.
Yeah, I thought, hang on. This game's really, I mean, I'm playing it on PC and I'm amazed how good it looks. It's like stunning. And I kind of thought, I bet the explosions are nice in this. And it's just like, yeah, they're bloody lovely. Yeah. And then realising as soon as I started using explosions that it's actually got like destructible environments as well. And I was like, wow, this game is just blowing me away in every regard. But I like the way that it does that.
Is your PC top level tricked out bullshit? Or
no, not quite.
Can you get away with a 5-year-old PC?
I think you might be able to, yeah. I don't know, but it runs beautifully and smoothly on mine. It's not super high end, but it's a nice PC. I use it for editing, so it's it's reasonably decent.
All right, I will buy a new one.
You've been thinking about buying a new computer ever since Steve bought one.
I keep buying. Yeah, it's how.
Sorry,
When you
Steve.
run a pub, I've got precious little to do with my time, so I just do it with the money I make from selling beer to alcoholics. Oh God!
I should say Steve, as in Steve Hogarty, who's on this podcast and with us on regular features as well, just so it's not us talking about our friends and being confusing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I got the grenade launcher and I just started killing people. And what I like though is because when I'm doing the missions, that's like serious hat on. That's like okay, super stealth.
Yeah.
Try not to kill anyone. Try and do everything without getting spotted as much as possible. But then in between, when you're just doing the side ops, that's what I like. It reminds me of in Red Dead Redemption where you put the bandana on. It's like, this isn't real. This isn't. It doesn't feel like it's really Snake, which means that if I want to rock up with rocket launchers and grenade launchers and just kill people, I just do. And it's great because I don't feel bad about that. You feel like a genuine war bastard. And it's fucking awesome.
That's a really good point, though. Of it doesn't feel like it's actually part of like the actual story bit, and I kind of maybe that's why I don't feel so bad about doing it either. But it kind of like remind like in Far Cry 3, I spent so much time going around and doing the outpost in that as well, and I hated Far Cry 3, but I loved doing that particular bit of it because you rock up to an outpost and you're like, right, how am I going to do this? And you like properly scope it out and be like, oh, there's a tiger over there, I'm going to do that. And I feel like the same way with Metal Gear as well. It's like, you just sort of sit around for a bit going, okay, how can I do it? And be like, oh, mortar, never mind. That's how we do it now.
I actually quite like it. And I also like the fact that, if I remember in Far Cry 2 when they first started doing those things, and actually in all of them now, you always get bloody spotted by them, don't you? Whereas now in this you have, I won't explain why too much, but you always have the tools you need to like just quite easily get past stuff without being seen.
Yeah.
Which means if you've got an outpost and you just can't be bothered, you just go past it.
Yeah.
But most of the time I kill them all just because it's fun.
Yeah.
And there's not many of them. It's like, and you get some points, some hero points.
Yeah.
But it's just, what I love about
What
it
do you
is...
do that loses you hero points? Is it killing,
Getting seen,
taking shit in your hand, throwing it at your horse's face. He hates that.
just doing your shit and then just sitting in your own shit and rolling around.
That's not what heroes do. Snake. Stop rolling in your own shit.
Naughty.
Bad Snake.
The amount of times that I've just, like, jumped on my horse, seen a guy, and then, you know, when you do that thing when you like go on the side of your horse, then you went down there, you just pop up and shoot him in the head. It's so good.
Yeah, that's it. It's just so many simple little mechanics that are all so robust, and the way that they all interact with each other, it just begs to be experimented with. And I mean, that's what I'm talking about with this.
It's kind of so effortless. It makes you wonder how anyone else makes a shit game as well.
Yeah. It's the best.
Well, of course, it's obvious this is great. Why wouldn't anyone else make this game? Why hasn't it been made 100 times before?
It's just weird how effortlessly they stroll in and have just made a better Far Cry game than any Far Cry game. And they've been doing it for years. And this is the first time they've tried to do it. But then at the same time, it still retains so much of the DNA of what it felt like when you were playing a Metal Gear Solid game.
Metal Gear Solid.
Of sneaking into bases and stuff. You know, when you're still doing the big missions where you go into a base, you're like, wow, this is still a Metal Gear Solid base. But it's just the fact that you get to approach it from a whole bunch of different angles.
Yeah.
And also just it's so cool seeing all these mechanics, like stuff from... I remember being so excited in Metal Gear Solid 2, the fact that you could sneak up behind guards with a gun, and then if you got really close to them and they hadn't seen you, then they put their hands in the air and you could basically frisk them and interrogate them. It's like, that was a fun thing in Metal Gear Solid 2, but it was a gimmick.
Yeah.
And there was never any reason to do it. It was like collecting dog tags and stuff. But here it's like, it's great, because it means when you're doing like a hostage extraction mission, you're just like, right, well, I could go and find the hostage myself, or I could just... like find someone on their own and find out, interrogate them.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a culmination of all the cool ideas that Metal Gear Solid's had over the years. It feels this is the Metal Gear Solid game. It's like this is the game that makes it all work.
Oh, I can't wait to play more of it.
Yeah, I had a bit of a binge.
Chat like this really does excite me. I'm getting thinking, why am I sat here talking to you pricks? I've got so few spare hours. Why am I wasting them with you?
No, I know. But yeah, I'd really recommend it actually, just to people who aren't into Metal Gear Solid, because I'm just amazed by what it is, because all of them for a long time have just been these things of like you play them for hours and then most of the time you're just sitting watching cutscenes. I love the fact that the first hour of the game is just like not that interactive, a lot of story, and then afterwards you're just in this amazing sandbox.
That first hour, I mean, the details aren't, but it's like Remember? Oh, I'm sorry. How unprof.
How
I'm
unprofessional.
gonna have to take this. Oh, Liz, how you doing?
Oh my.
We have to guess what he was going to say now.
What's up?
The first hour was...
Oh, and the light is going crazy out there as well. It's like flickering on and off. This is mental. This is like the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 5.
I'm sorry, the lighting in my house is on the fritz. It's not me doing some sort of experiential theatre in which I turn my house into a horrible sequence.
Something bad's happened.
Something bad's happened. It's fine. Logs in work mode. But yeah, the first hour was... we're just going to have to guess what Log was going to say. What do you think he was going to say?
I think he was going to say that the first hour does feel like Metal Gear Solid. It feels like the shit. Like, I know you don't like 4, and I don't like a lot of 4, but it feels like the worst part of 4 for a while.
Yeah.
And then, like, but there's some interesting stuff happening where you're just like, oh, story-wise, I really want to know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it, but I was like, in a weird way, lots of people pre-release were like, oh, it apparently has a really sparse story. That sounds terrible, but I love it. Like right now, I love that it felt so weird that it was like, oh, now just go and do a bunch of missions. Yeah. And after the missions, there wasn't any story. It was just like...
It wasn't like a cutscene at the end of it, something like that, which is like, feels less like a game. Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Commandos, actually.
Yeah.
That thing of being like, giving you simple missions like
Yeah.
One of the missions I loved actually, and it has got amazing replay value as a game, I think, because you just want to try the missions again. You're like, I'm going to come back later when I got better stuff.
Yeah.
Just like kill 3 of these generals. They're all gravitating towards one point. They're going to have a meeting. Kill them all.
Yeah.
Like, and you're supposed to kill them all when they're having the meeting, but you don't have to. And so you just have like so many different approaches. And it reminds me a lot of like Hitman Blood Money.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But even I Just Love You can get mad. And there's been a few times where I've got really pissed off with a mission. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to disable all your communications. Yeah. And then I'm going to come at you with a grenade launcher. And you're going to be on your radio. It's like, let's go, grenade. But it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I felt like a really, really horrible person.
Yeah, I've been playing GTA Online heists like quite a lot, and like doing those in a team, but then doing them like literally going, okay, this is what we have to do, and that's all they say is that they show you what they say. This is what is expected of you. Do that in an in the best way you think is possible. And I think that's amazing. When they just go, and you're just like, shit, okay, how am I going to do this? And then you do it like the first time, you're like, okay, well, that was the worst way to do that. And you go, well, how about we just do this? And you actually like when you feel yourself going, oh my God, this is going to be the best way of doing it. And then you do something and it goes off perfectly. You're just like, this is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah. And that's, I found myself already like slapping myself on the mental wrist and being like, what are you doing? Like, because rather than carrying on with the story, I've been like replaying missions quite a lot and just being like, oh no, I want to do it again. And just jumping in and being like, ride on my horse really quickly to this point and like get out my sniper rifle and just trying to perfect a little plan in my head.
Yeah.
Just to, when you kind of, what's he doing? He's taking a phone call right outside the door. He's got the whole flat and he's having a conversation right outside the door. So all I can hear, I don't think it's going to get picked up on the recording, but all I can hear is Log talking on the phone. It's unbelievable. You can go anywhere.
Yeah, it's funny now.
It is funny. That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea where they've just gone, okay, we've made this amazing world. You go have fun in it.
Yeah, absolutely. It basically feels to me more like Red Dead Redemption than any other like game since Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
It felt more like Red Dead Redemption than most Metal Gear than it does a Metal Gear Solid game, frankly. And I want a lot of people to play it, sort of thing where it's like it's very cool.
Sorry, but I had to fix the problem with the problem.
It's fine.
No.
You could have done it. Could have not done it just outside the door, but it's fine.
Are you still recording?
Yes.
Yeah. We carried on. We're
Carried on recording.
We do this as live, as if it's
going to cut it out so I could restart my amazing observations about the similarities between the opening level of Tomb Raider and Metal Gear Solid 5.
We went on and guessed.
we just guessed what you said and then carried on the conversation. Do you want to go back and say what you were going to say?
Nah, not really. leave them dangling. They can work out their own similarities.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there are some. But yeah, it's a very good game, and you should definitely check it out. I mean, it's just a bit of a shame that it's one of these weird things, especially now. Like, I've got to say, having got to the point with Quiet in it, it just feels like such pointless marketing bollocks. It's like all of the thing about being like, oh, what's the point? Why does this character have to be naked? And he's like, oh, you'll feel bad when you find out why. And then you find out why, and you're like, I don't feel bad. That just seems like really, really bad narrative that you've sort of put in to make yourself feel better about the fact that you've got are basically naked.
Not because something you invented made it have to do it.
Exactly. You're the one making the game. You'd be like, you'll find out when the reason. Like, whatever reason, you made the reason.
I honestly don't know even. I kind of suspect there wasn't even an auteur decision. I kind of feel like because it's such a side thing that you don't even have to have it or do it. But it's been such a big part of the marketing that I kind of think, is this just something they've shoved in because they know it'll market well and they know it'll be in screenshots and they know that every bloody media outlet in the world, whenever they have a story about Metal Gear Solid 5 on the site, will have a picture of her, and it's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I don't mind. I do mind that. I don't mind that so much as is it designed to provoke debate between GG and SJW? Has he done that? Has he deliberately stirred that hornet's nest?
As part of some ongoing actual Metal Gear storyline in which he takes over the world with an AI.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's in today's climate. I don't know. Who can say?
I think the answer to that is probably almost definitely
He
not.
just likes tits.
I think he just likes tits, and he knows that tits will sell games and sell toys. But it just feels like really weirdly incongruous for a game which actually is a lot less out there and left field than most Metal Gears.
Yeah.
It still has some weird stuff, but it's mainly surreal. But it's one of these things where you're just like, oh, what's the point?
What's wrong with you?
What is this bullshit?
Yeah.
Just leave it out. Anyway,
It'd be good if on the last mission it all zoomed out and the whole of the game had been played out on the surface of Quiet's tits.
You're going to feel bad when you get it.
what have I told you about spoilers? Seriously, Log. Twice.
Oh, no.
Unbelievable. Okay, that's enough about MGS5 for now.
Okay.
Do you want to tell me about a game you've been playing, which you've become actually a bit obsessed with? And I'm sort of surprised by that, but not surprised.
Showering with Your Dad Simulator, 2015.
That's the one.
What was it called? So there's a subtitle that I've forgotten.
How to shower with your dad and make
Do you
friends.
still shower with your dad? Is that
Do
it?
you still shower with your dad?
Yeah.
That's what it is. How do you know that? You played it?
Yeah, I know how to play.
I don't know, something about it. When I saw the trailer ages ago, and it's like the trailer is like a parody of uses a Kanye West song in a kind of like parody on this Social Network trailer there was. And I just really, something about it really made me laugh. And then when I played the game, it also really made me laugh.
It does look very charming.
It's really charming. I think like when we talked about it today, you were just like, yeah, it's exactly, you're right. That's what it is. It's like a silly, playful game that is something about every person has to go through in their life, like showering with their adult.
Yeah, I think it's mainly
It's mainly.
I was always bathed as a child, so to me it just seemed like whimsical beyond the realms of reality.
But what about when you went to the swimming bath with your dad?
Oh, it's that.
Yeah, because there's
That's why there are other dads there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, then it's just lovely.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I've seen some people talking about having a bit of debate about it and being like, oh, is it weird? Is it making like? And I think one of the things is it has sparked off lots of people to make like really off-color jokes about like child abuse, which is just fucking horrendous. But it's a shame because as with a lot of naive things, that's often what happens. But
I don't know how naive the developers are. It's all done in such a very knowing way. I don't think naivety is what motivated them.
I don't know.
But I don't think monstrous sort of allusions to child abuse were their intentions either. But naivety, no.
No, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't know, man. I like when you play that game, or when you look at it, I don't think there's any intention. Like, basically, I think a lot of people have, so I've read that someone's saying that they're making a joke about child abuse. Like,
they're certainly
inherently making a joke about child abuse. But that is just fucking not true.
But it's weird. It's like,
I think of what, I don't know, perhaps it's just because I knew they were talking to me as well. I was like, I can't shower with my dad. He's 70 years old. That wouldn't be arousing at all.
Do nothing for anyone.
I like though at the beginning where you generally were just like, oh, I feel a bit out of this because I was always put in the bath. Did you think it was like a generational thing? You're like, oh, we didn't have a shower when I was growing up.
A shower was invented
in a tin bathtub in the middle of the lounge.
No, it wasn't a tin bath large enough for both me and my dad. For a sad story.
Well, you both enormously well hung,
talking about you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's where I get it from, Log. But no, yeah, it just, I don't know, I haven't even played it, but just watching the trailer, it did remind me of something I'd just completely forgotten about, that period of your life where you are basically very young and just walking around swimming pool showers, being surrounded by lots of men with big dongs.
Yeah.
Dongs.
Big dongs. Jesus Christ. That's the first time I realised that poodles weren't massive. They just had a lot of hair. It was amazing. It was a real eye-opener on many levels.
To be honest, like, it looks like there's not a lot for 79 pence, right? It looks like, because you see,
It's
like,
really stylish as well.
it's really, the music is fucking brilliant. But it looks like it's basically that one screen that you've seen, which is like you are one kid and you have to find you have to match the kid to the dad. And that is how it goes for a little bit. Then you unlock different stuff, and you can see how, like, that is how the joke started. That it must have been at some kind of like game jam or something like that. And you see that that's where it started. And then the more it goes, you can see there's more developers just got really, really ambitious with it. So there's a bit where it's kind of like Flappy Bird, where you're in a bath and you're shooting stuff, and you have to shoot the other dads, but not shoot your dad. He has to jump in the bath with you. Then there's another one which is like flying through space. And you have to catch your dad. And then
one of the original modes that's open is where their dads are falling from the sky, and you have to grab them with your arm.
Is your arm or your dick?
Yeah, it's like. But my first thought is, oh no, this is wrong. No, it's my arm. It's fine.
It's my arm.
I'm not shooting off a 10-foot. No, I'm not even going to say the word.
But the last time that I played it, I unlocked this mode called Sopaco, and it's like an adventure game where you're the dad, and you've got to like walk around this little bathroom clicking on things like try, use, push, put. It's
this
weird.
is the next thing. Is I've heard like lots of people talking about it, and there are suspicions that maybe because it's got quite a large file size for the game as well.
Right.
There are suspicions that this game is actually Frog Fractions 2.
Right. Okay.
You guys familiar with Frog Fractions?
No.
I never played it. I heard people gushing a bit about it.
It was all right. Like, I've got to be honest, like, it was all right.
What was it?
A kind of comedy game, and the problem I had is I didn't think it was as funny as it thought it was. But the idea was great. It was the idea that you were basically a frog on a leaf thing, whatever they're called, lily pad. That's the one. Oh, fucker.
I got it right, but I was just after him, so that's...
you
both got it right.
Silver.
You both got it right. But you had to like catch like flies in your mouth, and it was done as if it was a kind of educational, like a mock educational game. If you have to like collect the right butterflies, the right numbers, and it's like 2 and then times, but it was all nonsense, and it involved like tiny like fractions, and it didn't make any sense, and it was sort of this impossible maths game where it didn't matter what you did, you seemed to be just doing great and getting it all right.
Okay.
But is it taking the piss out of our participation as its own reward culture? Is that what it is?
It might have been. I've no idea.
Yeah.
But then
don't encourage kids.
So are people
Punish
saying
them.
that it's because of the arm physics? Or
Well, no. The
something
thing
like that?
with Frog Fractions is it then went on to be really odd in that you collected some stuff and you could buy upgrades, and you could buy like a turbo tongue and all this mad stuff, and then you could buy an upgrade which I think like it was like. I don't know what it did, but I think the joke was that it was either something like you bought something which was an illegal upgrade, and then you got arrested by the frog police and you got taken to jail, and you escaped jail and went to space and rocket. And it was basically a sort of endless adventure where you just you kept having to play different games, and at one point that was an adventure game,
Right.
And it just kept changing genres and changing stuff constantly, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. But it was that thing of, I don't know, especially as we all do kind of funny stuff, I just kept thinking the whole time, I thought this is a really good idea, but it could be funnier. Like,
Tighten your script up.
yeah, the writing is not quite as funny as it should be, or could be. But anyway, it was much loved because of the fact that it was this idea of being like, oh, play. If I hadn't known anything about it, it probably would have surprised me a lot more. But people always said to me, oh, it's this really mad, weird thing.
Oh, that's bad, isn't it? Nothing kills you more saying, oh, it's the mad. Oh, God, it blew my mind.
Fun mad.
Yeah.
But then they did I think, I might be wrong, I think they did a Kickstarter or something for Frog Fractions 2. Or something else.
Right.
But then it was this weird thing where they were like, oh, yeah, you'll get access to it when it is revealed or when you can find it or something. Right, or it might have been a Kickstarter for another game name that wasn't anything, that people were like, is this Frog Fractions 2? So the interesting thing is that Frog Fractions 2 is a bit more interesting to me now than Frog Fractions, because it's this thing of like, it's a game that might already exist, but people don't know what it is. It might be a game hidden within another game.
That's really cool.
And that's just more like urban myth. I don't think that's anything even that the devs have necessarily done. But it means that it's this weird thing, people are looking for it in things.
Right,
you know?
okay,
It's an ARG that you might not even realise you're playing.
This could be Frog Fractions too.
Fucking hell.
And
Or 3.
the fact
What if Frog Fracture 2 though is actually like a child abuse simulator? So I mean, like, I made this video this week going, oh yeah, this game I thought was really fun. And now I'm on a podcast talking about how I think it's fun, and now I'm making...
You're complicit.
Yeah.
Complicit as fuck, Gav.
Bollocks. No.
Well, you go to jail. Obviously, you get tried, but
Shit.
You go
Daft
to
Souls jail.
no real jail.
Oh, that's much worse.
The jail in that corner is not. It's not a real jail. I know it says Daft Souls jail and it looks like a jail, but actually, you just press very firmly against the wall.
You look around and look.
I thought you had Daft Souls Jail written on your wall. It's your naughty step.
Oh, I radioed you, and you were in the room. That shouldn't work.
I mean, whether or not it is that, I thought the 20 minutes that I played of it was very funny. And it was interesting that it unlocked all these different modes and stuff, because I didn't expect it to do that at all. I think the
79p
really
is
funny.
The 79p is a great way of making you expect very little.
Yes.
And also, I do like the fact that the dad jokes are delivered by dads with their penises out.
Sometimes they're like lying down.
So wearing a lumberjack shirt with an axe and his dick hanging out.
Yeah.
Which is...
Is that something you just like to see in life generally?
Anyway, yeah.
Dad jokes delivered by dads with their dicks out.
I'm not saying I'd pay for it, but £100 an hour.
Yeah, like
with
you were
full
saying
pen.
about...
I wonder if this is going to be the next like comedians in car with coffee. Dads telling dad jokes with their dicks out. Yeah, I think we should pitch it.
To be
It
honest.
is a great choice of dad jokes as well. Classic, have you had a haircut? I had them all cut. It's really good.
That is a dad joke.
It's
Isn't it?
harmless dad jokes. Full on harmlessness. Coupled with dicks.
With having his dick out.
Yes.
Yeah. I like it.
Good. Well, it looks like fun. It looks like harmless fun.
I think it is. I hope it's harmless fun.
Have you unlocked all the modes yet?
I don't think so.
Well, there you go.
Soberco is bloody hard.
You've got to keep going. I want to know what the final thing is.
Yeah.
And is it even the final thing?
God, see, now that makes me not want to find out, because it's like I'll just be thinking all the time, like, this has got to be it. This has got to be it.
Well, there's dad loadable content, isn't there?
Yeah, but you unlock that.
Oh, I didn't know. I haven't got that far.
Dad loadable content is the stuff that you unlock by doing. I don't even know if I'm doing good. In
I'm sorry, I really like this game just because it has that as dad loadable content.
It sounds fucking made up.
It just makes me laugh. It's just a great pun.
Exactly, yeah.
I never realised the word dad would become so funny with repetition.
No.
It's a great word.
I think if we carry this on, I'm just going to be laughing constantly. It's terrifying.
I like it.
Should we talk a little bit about Until Dawn?
Yes.
Because I like that.
I'm going to retire into my questions only mode.
I think you'll be interested in this.
What is Until Dawn?
Well, we had it explained to us last week by Jim Trinker as kind of like being a cross between Scream and some other stuff. It's sort of an interactive, like one of the Telltale games where you have to make choices. But the difference here is the choices actually affect the game. And that's not me being like, oh, sick burn.
Yeah. Wow, some of the choices you make will have in-game consequences.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, fantastic. Like in Bioshock.
No, actual change the game. It actually does this because it's a Sony game that's, I think Jim described it best as being like, it looks like it's kind of a quantum dream game. Like it looks like it's a David Cage game, but without all of the...
Without David Cage being involved.
Yeah, without David Cage being involved.
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
So it's good.
It's really fucking polished. It's like it's basically like it's made by Sony, who own all these like movie, obviously really big into movies as well as video games. So it feels like you're watching a Sony film. And it's got a really good cast as well.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's got a really good cast. It's got the guy who's playing Mr. Robot at the moment. He's really, really good.
It's got real people, hasn't it? Yeah.
Real people, like doing real things.
Yeah, and they behave like actual humans, and the graphics are really, really good.
Yeah.
And so for me, it just has lots of things like, in Alan Wake, how it's just like walking through the trees was just kind of amazing. Walking through with the flashlights. It has that thing.
Yeah.
Basically, you spend a lot of the game, from what I've played, of like 3 or 4 hours, walking through woods with a flashlight and being able to aim your flashlight around and just being scared. And
is this Trinker's Walking Simulators video?
I don't...
Oh, sorry, rewind. Carry on where you were from.
No, yeah.
I didn't want to derail you.
And basically, it's a horror game where you're in control of lots of different characters. And because it's doing that cinematic thing, it has this hilarious bit at the start where it goes, the butterfly effect. Yeah. And then tells you what the butterfly effect is, saying, oh, one thing that happens can change everything, and does this really hammy thing of like basically trying to explain to maybe people who don't play games very often, the choices you make will change what happens. So the idea is it takes about 7 hours to complete, but then you can play it again and behave differently, and it will just be different. Like, already about 2 people have died in my game.
Yeah.
But you can complete it with no one dying. Presumably, apparently that's possible. I don't want to know how because
fuck,
I have no idea.
Because without like going into spoilers, so the first person that died, first person that died for me, it was a choice between 2 people, and I actually suspected one person wasn't all they seemed. So I thought, I'm going to go for the other person because there's no way that person that I suspect something about is going to die. No, they fucking died.
You know what? That's the same thing I thought. I thought, but there must be something else. There must be a third option somehow.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue.
So
that's interesting.
I'm having that thing which I sometimes get in video game presentations where you're explaining something to me and I can't imagine it.
Right.
And that always makes me suspicious.
Have you played Heavy Rain?
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's a horror film. And a lot better.
Okay, so how do you step out? Okay. Is it just branching sort of decisions? Branching, some decisions are invisible, and they also there are bottlenecks where all the things get tied back together again, or what?
You're shown whenever things have had an effect, and the choices you make. Basically, the best way to describe this game, and I think this is really interesting, is when you play games like Telltale games, all of the choices now are morality based. You know, it used to be like black and white morality games. That was the thing, and then it became everything's grey. And every choice you make, it's going to be good for some people, bad for some people. But they were all explicit choices with consequences.
Yeah.
In this, the choices you make largely relate to how you want the characters to behave. And it's not actually about, like, do you want to go this way or do you want to go this way?
When you say characters, do you have control over more than one character?
Yes.
It's split between the party, basically. It's basically like a stereotypical like weekend at a camp. Or like, cabin. Like a cabin in the woods.
Spooky lodge.
Thing. Yeah, basically.
Okay. But the idea is that
they should have called Cabin in the Woods Spooky Lodge.
Yeah. It's the worst name for a film ever. But yeah, so you jump between the characters, and that's another nice thing, because it seems like basically I hope this is what they've done. It seems like, you know how they say the best like stories are driven by character development, not like events. It seems like that's what they've gone for here, in the fact that the choices you make, what they have an influence on is how the characters feel about each other, which means you make a choice. And if you choose to act like a dick to that character, then it means that character, you don't like each other very much anymore. Whereas if you choose to try and like maybe have an olive branch, because the thing is, they're all dickheads, right? That's the crucial thing about this game. They're all fucking dickheads.
Like the worst types of people in the worst, late 2000s remake horror characters, basically.
Okay, right.
That's what these people are.
It's like there's 13 or so people, maybe 10, and they're all assholes. And actually you start off thinking, I hope they all fucking die. I don't like them at all. But then the interesting thing is the choice you get to make, and this is what I mean about it's not morality. It's not like, do this or that.
Yeah.
Every time you get a choice, it mostly boils down to, do you want this character to continue behaving like a horror movie arsehole? Or do you want them to behave in a way that subverts that? And it basically means...
Now I'm getting a little bit more interested.
Yeah, I think you'll like it, because it means that if you really don't like a character, in my head I think, well, I can have them carrying on like a dick, and then when they get killed, I won't feel bad about it. Or you can be like, I don't like the way this character's behaving, and you can actually shift it away. So it means if you want to have a slasher film experience where all of the characters are arseholes, they all behave like idiots, and then they all get themselves killed, you can do that.
Yeah.
But if you want something where the horror movie, the people spot things and they don't behave badly and they might have a better chance of surviving, you can do that as well. And it just seems to be like a really nice tailored horror experience. And I like that it's not like, do you want to go in the spooky barn or do you want to go down the spooky river?
Yeah.
It is just this thing of being like, do you want to behave like an arsehole to this person?
Yeah.
Yes or no? But then it does something else, which I'm not going to spoil. But there's an element in the game which I fucking love.
Yeah, it's really clever.
Fact that it's basically, it ensures that you do feel judged for what you are doing as a player. And it means that you are in charge of these people, and their lives are in your hands.
Yeah.
And there's an element of the game which basically reminds you of that and questions who you are and what you're doing. And like questions about, you might think that you're being a good person trying to look after them, but the game has an effort to make you to go, are you a fucking good person?
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to play this.
It's very cool. It's very, very cool. And it's completely surprised me because it didn't interest me at all. Like when I first saw videos of it at E3 last year, I think I just blanked it from my mind because they had a trailer where it was a girl in a towel, bit looking scared in a dark room or something. Yeah. And I was like, that's getting put straight in the box of shit I'm not interested in at all.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that doesn't give away anything that sounds cool about it.
Yeah.
No.
I played like a preview thing, I think it was like December, and I played it and I was just like, that was alright. And then I found out that the people who are writing it and possibly producing it as well, like are involved in some really fucking good horror films. Like the Innkeepers, which is one of my favourite horror films of the last like 10 years. It's so good. And I think they wrote that and they were involved with that film as well. And so actually at one point you see the Innkeepers poster on the wall as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got people who actually write films and stuff like that. So I think that's sort of part of the reason where it is clever. And it goes like, these are the horror movie dicks that we all hate. And Innkeepers, if you watch that, doesn't have horror movie dicks. Like that was one of my favorite things about it. Like people talk like actual people, whereas these people talk like horror movie dicks, but then as you say, you have the ability to actually change that.
Well, it's like they feel like people. I mean, the voice acting is excellent, the mocapping is excellent, and it's this thing of you realise after a little while that they're all behaving like dicks, but actually they might not be dicks, and it's that opportunity of whether or not you want to coax that out of them. Do you want to actually find out who these people are and make them behave like humans to each other, or are you quite happy for them just to be idiots? But the interesting thing is, I don't know. I actually wrote a thing on this. I won't say it because I don't know if it's going to get published or not, but I wrote a little thing in the fact that I'm only about 4 hours in, and what I love about it is I don't really even know what this game is.
Yeah.
Like, it's doing all of these interesting
things. It's like, shall we that again?
Yeah.
It's bloody the frog game, isn't it?
It's probably a frog fraction too. No, it's doing things with the narrative, and it's doing things with the way it's like, it's asking me questions, I'm giving it information, it's tracking through the game, the choices I'm making are affecting the story, people are dying, and I don't know what the game's doing.
So you're saying you hope it's as smart as you want it to be, basically?
Well, I don't know. I like the fact that most time when I play video games now, within an hour or so, I've got it sussed. I know what's going on. I know what the system is. I know what
that
this game
sense of
is.
walking with your eyes closed is so rare. I mean, it's like it was what most people's love of games is built out of, and it just disappears into repetition.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's so hard to find that again. That kind of what am I actually playing here? What am I experiencing here? I don't know where it's going with it. And I find it interesting that even though I'm trying my best to be really careful and thinking about stuff, people are still dying. I don't know what's going on. And it's like, I don't know if I'm just actually being not as clever as I think I am, but it gives you opportunities. I won't spoil anything, but it gives you these things of, you know how you have these, there's kind of like really little red herrings in a film, like in a horror film, where you'd be like, yeah, the obvious red herring, but then you have things where one of the characters does something, like the classic thing of like, pretending to scare someone. Yeah. The character's like, I'll pretend to scare you. And you think, well, don't do that, because then when the actual murderer turns up, you'll be like, oh, it's Johnny. Yeah. He's messing around. It gives you the opportunity to do things like that with the characters. And you're like, don't fucking do that. Yeah. You need to have your wits about you. So it's this weird thing, though, but that's the way I'm reacting to the game. I'm reacting to the game as a human trying to look after some other dickheads. Yeah. Whereas I imagine some people might just play it and be like, I'm the director in a horror film, and I'm going to watch you die and enjoy that aspect.
There is aspects of that in it. Like there's one character that I think you don't really get a lot of options to make him not a penis. Like, and he's a giant dick in it. And at one point you're in control of him. You're just like, you know what? I don't want you in my game anymore. Like, I don't want to have to even worry about what you do. So there's one bit where it's like...
But then the thing is, he might save the life of somebody else. Exactly. Keep him there. And I'm intrigued to finish it, and I'm intrigued to actually play it again, because there's another element of it which is quite cool. These totems, which are basically like what they put in as collectible things. The fact that you pick them up and they basically just show you a flash of a possible future where somebody has died. And it basically just shows you a split-second flash of like a scene, but you don't know how
it may or may not happen.
Yeah, but then it might give you a clue. It might be like, well, and then sometimes because it'll be like shot from an angle. Yeah, you won't even recognize the scene, and you suddenly have this thing where you go, oh god, this is a place where somebody might die, and then you have to be on your edge of being like, what's going to happen?
That's quite clever.
I do like that, but this is where I think like they've fucked up a little bit. Is like, because I saw some people were doing it in like 7 hours. Like some people were taking a lot longer than that. Like some people were taking longer than that. I think like one of the reviews I read was like 10 hours. And I was just like even 7 hours.
Well, some of the routes must be longer.
Exactly, yeah. And I think like even 7 hours, I think for that type of thing where you're just like, the choices and stuff like that, like I think that's too long. Because I generally saw that game. When I first played it, I was just like, wasn't that interested. Then a friend of mine who I work with was just like, oh, do you know what would be really cool is like sitting with like 4 people on your sofa, like, you know, with a couple of drinks, like lights off, playing that. Then like as someone dies or something happens, you pass the controller around. So the first time that I got the game, that's what I was trying to do. And I was just like, we played it for like 5 hours, and then we was like, this is long, and then just like, it doesn't have that thing. So I went into it thinking it's going to be this cool, like almost party game.
I did exactly the same thing. My, my other half is not really interested in games, but I kind of thought she might like watching this.
Yeah.
And she sat and watched me play it for about 3 hours, and then she just said towards the end of the night, she was just like, "Can they all just die now?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like. Because I was really into it. Because if you're the person walking through the woods with a flashlight, it's really like heart in chest tense.
Yeah. But she's not interested in taking the controller?
No, not really.
Because Stuart wouldn't be interested either, my boyfriend. He's he'd watch and he'd sort of indulge me for a bit, but if I hand him the controller, he'd just no. This is your hobby.
This is yours.
Well, that's the thing that's a bit of a shame is the fact that it does have like QTEs in it, which means that it's that like QTEs are not, and some of them are really fast as well. So it's fine for me because I've been doing this for years. Yeah. But well,
that's the thing as well. When we were playing it like that, it was just like when it does give you like a route choice, and it's just like, do you want to go the easy way or the hard way? And it's like, well, I'm going to go the hard way. But then people like the easy way. I was like, I would have liked to have seen what the other route was, because hard way is just you have to be really quick at pressing the buttons.
Yeah, it's basically like QTEs and they're fast.
Yeah.
But I like it. It is a good mechanic for getting attention.
Is that a character dies or doesn't die kind of thing as well?
I don't know. I haven't failed one yet. I don't think so. I think you just get probably just slowed down. But maybe...
That's a good point. I've never failed one.
I've never failed one either. But I mean, some of them are like jumping off.
It can't be. You do. It's got really fast and really hard QTEs, but we haven't failed one between us.
I mean, because we're cool. Let's have a little high five.
No, I don't think that you would die from that.
It's because I've been like really worried about it.
How do you know they're hard if you haven't failed one? You probably press the button before.
They're fast, man. They're fast. The little wheels that spin around them.
Good point.
It shows you how long you've got.
Okay.
And maybe it gives you just enough time to be like, okay, I know what you like, smart.
No, but it's still going to let you fail. What if you just don't have the controller? You go, oh, it's all fake. Like, it's all...
That's a good one.
You push this Daft Souls jail isn't even real.
I know, it's like none of the game is real. It's a big video, and right at the end, you get frog fractions too.
It's all a weird dream. But no, I like the idea that I'm looking forward to finishing it because... I want to know if the context of having played the game then makes going through and playing again easier in terms of the fact that when you're going through, you've got these things that seem like red herrings and things that seem like really big red flags of being like, don't do that, you'll die.
Yeah.
That's going to blatantly like come back and bite you. But then maybe not. And actually maybe when you finish the game and have a better understanding of what the arc is, it might be that thing of playing it again actually feels like a different game. It feels like you're playing something different of being like, you've got the knowledge of what's happening and you're trying to use that to shape what happens. But I don't know. It's an interesting one.
I'm not convinced on how replayable it is. But I'm fucking loving playing it.
I'd like to play it again, I think. Yeah. I'd like to see what happens if you go through, because I've been really doing my best to wrangle them into positions where they're not being complete arseholes. Yeah. And it does feel like you're just like looking after kids. It's just like, Jesus, guys, stop it. Like randy kids just won't leave each other alone. But I am I like the idea of playing it and just making them behave like dicks and just letting them be the monsters they want to be and seeing what happens. Another thing I do like though is, you have like in any Mr. Horror game, you have like clues that you go and find like, a clipping from a newspaper. Yeah. A weird message.
10 years ago, the foreman was accused of...
Perfect. Exactly. Yeah. It's exactly that sort of stuff.
Hang on, did you say perfect shot? Is that the same story?
No.
It just may as well be. Yeah. It's like, but... I like the fact that the characters then, if you spend time going and finding that stuff, then the characters reference it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
It means that if that character has seen that, then there'll come a point in the story where they'll go, this is weird. I saw this whole thing and there was an answer phone message and they'll actually...
This is like where the whole idea of developing a game just becomes impenetrable to me. Like all this, just imagining the branching tree in the background of this thing, I think, I can't do that. And it gives me loads more respect for anyone who does bother their arse making a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some of them are weird because some of the choices are so minor. You're like, well, how does that change the outcome of stuff? But it does. It shows you what things matter. It has like butterflies whenever you made a choice that would have split off, and they're not that frequent. But you get like kind of one or two every chapter, which lasts about about half an hour each chapter, I think.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I'd really recommend checking it out, especially if you're not really interested in horror stuff.
I like it.
I'm not that interested in horror stuff.
I'm going to go and play it.
I think you'll like it a lot. It's got some really, really full-on cat fights in it. that made me sit there going, whoa, chill it, guys.
She a bitch.
Really, yeah, they are literally like really being very mean to each other. And the boys are mostly quite cool. And that's
When you say
'cause
cat fights, do you mean just any two people having a fight, or do you mean it in the Seinfeld sense of men watching women having a fight?
No, I mean that, yeah. I mean the Seinfeld sense of two women really, really getting very vicious with each other verbally.
That's the thing. When I was playing it, I was just like, I don't understand how these people were friends. Like, because they talk to each other in a way that I was just like, no human talks to another person that's in the same room like that.
It is weird, isn't it? I also don't
get horror films are like that. Like,
I guess so, and I can also, it's a horror film thing, a horror genre thing more than anything else. But I always find it mystifying when you have these films and setting things like this, where all these characters are clearly like in their like early to mid 20s, and they're still just like, woo, free house, let's get drunk and have sex. It's like, do you not? I think it may be because in the UK, like we've got a really relaxed approach to underage drinking, that you kind of mostly get that out of your system by the age of 18, 19.
Well, there's a bit right at the beginning where you have to walk into a party, and it takes fucking ages. The friend that I was playing with, Sasha, who doesn't play video games, she was just like, if my friend made me walk this thing, I'd be fucking brilliant. She's like, I'm not climbing over a fence going to fight. I'm going home. Like, this is bullshit.
Well, that's the thing, actually. My other half, who was watching it, she described it after watching it for 3 hours as being a shit teen movie that never ends. Which is, if you're watching, fair. But there is more to it than that.
It's still fun.
It's still fun. Okay, let's see if we've got some questions. Well, we definitely have. Okay, questions time. We've got a bunch of questions actually already on the site, on coolghost.net, under the kind of Daft Souls post. I'm going to go through those, I think, next week with Quinns and whoever joins us, because there's a bunch of really interesting questions on there. But for today, I'm just going to get some quick ones off Twitter, because we're running a bit out of time. So, first up, we've got a question from Matthew Jeffrey. What's your favourite video game cabinet/arcade machine, and what would go in the King Billy? I think this is a question for you, Log, who of course runs the King Billy pub in Nottingham.
The King Billy pub, to which you are more than welcome. And I do actually have a customer at the minute working on a Raspberry Pi powered main cabinet with a sort of he's made a little box with a couple of joysticks and buttons on it.
Awesome.
He's proven to be very slow at it though. So if anyone else wants to make one, just fucking send it to me. I'm itching to get this.
If you could have any arcade game though in your pub,
well, that's the beauty. MAME. I'm going to have every arcade game in my pub.
But you have to choose. Pretend we're living in the past.
I'd have Die Hard Arcade or the Simpsons arcade game.
Yeah, we did
fucking love them so much.
That was the thing about the Simpsons arcade, though.
Yeah.
That was playing on my first anniversary. I had a sort of 1 year running the pub party. And we had a prototype of this machine working there, and people zoned straight in on the Simpsons.
Oh, really? Awesome.
And we had people just sort of sitting there watching.
But it ruined your night.
No, it's fine. People were sitting there watching it. It's like, I've never seen this game actually finished because it was designed to drain your money so much.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was hard.
But infinite credits. Who knew? Actually, you can finish the game now.
You know, actually, the Simpsons arcade game, I have a history with that. It's one of the earliest games I remember being really obsessed with. And it was on a camping trip in France where I was given, I think, a franc a day, which was like before the Euros when France had their own funny money.
Crazy.
They've got their own customs.
Francs. Well, that's basically the name of the country.
But you dropped the E off.
And that's what I would be like in alternate reality when I was a stand-up in the 1980s. But yeah, it was... I kind of cottoned on because what I was doing was spending like some of my money on ice creams and some of my money on the arcade machine.
And then found you could go hungry.
Yeah.
And play the...
Yeah, so I thought, I'm not going to buy any ice creams. So I was starving, poor boy. No ice creams. But I saved up all my money for like 4 days, and then I like basically binged and spent all of my coins. I got to like stage 5 of the Simpsons arcade game. But then later in life, this was when I was really young, later I went to the ice rink in Altrincham with some friends, and I got so hooked. Again, I wanted to beat it. I wanted to beat it because it's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
I spent all of my money on the arcade Simpsons machine, and I actually didn't have any money. I couldn't get home.
Is it lots easier with more than one player? Because like I can imagine you saying, come on, play with me. And as everyone else saying, no, Matt, none of us care as much as you do.
Yeah, pretty much. It's hard when you're on your own, just generally in life. But no, I spent all my money.
So what, did someone give you some money to get home?
I don't actually recall what happened. I think I had to call my mum. I don't know what happened.
You use your last franc to call your mum from a police station.
this wasn't in France. This was in Altrincham.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have. If I had Franks, I would have still been fucked. They don't accept them at Altrincham train station. But that's one of the few times in my life where I've actually behaved very irresponsibly because of video games. Actually, at all. I'm usually quite boring with that sort of thing. But I've run out of. It's addictive. It should be banned.
That
Gallagher. You can't beat a bit of Gallagher.
All right, let's
Mooncrester. Fuck it, Mooncrester.
Die Hard Arcade.
Okay, I like Point Blank.
Good.
Do you know why? Because it was quite easy. You always got your money's worth.
Yeah, but Point Blank, you can't play with joysticks and buttons, can you?
No, but put 50p in it, you get like 10 minutes off that.
That was my biggest problem with the National Video Game Arcade is they had a Point Blank machine in there,
right?
And I got overexcited, ran towards it. The screen was off. I slumped down, and the man shouted after me when I was already in my defeated pose. It's not working, mate.
Oh, fuck off.
So you smashed it up.
You're the National Video Game Arcade Machine Arcade. I deserve better.
I hope you said that in your mind at least.
I paid 25 quid to be a member of this.
I'm sorry, I've just seen one of the fucking most boring tweets I've ever seen come through on your timeline. Fuck's sake, Skoda UK. It would be helpful if the tyre changing kit in the car had the correct sized nut tool. You're a fucking nut tool, mate. You fucking boring prick.
You follow some sorts, man.
Dude, I like an eclectic mixture of boring things in my timeline. Helps me to unwind. A question from Jesse Fucks. That's the question. No, this is a good question, actually. What is the least prestigious award you've ever won?
Probably something for fucking coming second in I don't know if you know about Wales. I'm from there, but they have a thing called the Eisteddfod, which is like a folk festival.
Right.
So people go there and choirs, acting, reciting and stuff like that. Probably for coming second reciting some bullshit poem.
Oh, you got most enthusiastic observer award.
So yeah, they give out my medals quite willingly at those. So I'm sure I probably got loads of those that I thought were amazing and brought home. Shit.
What about you, Luke? Have you ever won an award which wasn't prestigious?
I won an award for specialist writer online when my job was in print. And it just goes to show it doesn't matter, does it? No one cares. No one's watching what you're doing. It's just whether they like you or not.
That's basically what it boils down to. It's pure nepotism. But getting a piece of plastic because people like you is still cool.
Yeah.
It's just not worthwhile in terms of...
I would like a
else.
GMA this year, though, because it'd be nice to win one from outside the industry. And just go, fucking hell, I'm not even working in the industry anymore. I'm still better than you. Sorry, that sounded egotistical. I'll sit down.
I won a series of awards when I was at college for various sporting endeavours.
Okay.
None of which were me.
Oh.
So I guess that's probably my answer.
What do you mean they weren't you?
Well, there was a thing at my college where you could basically sign in. You had to sign in to do the sports activities.
Right.
But then you had to sign in, and if you were supposed to be in a lesson at that point, then you would sign in with someone else's name, because then they wouldn't know that you were supposed to be in German or whatever.
Right.
And so it meant that I would always sign in as my mate Billy.
Right.
I'd just be I'm Billy. Dude, I can't remember his second name. It's been years.
What's up, Billy?
But then it meant that somebody, and it was no one I knew, but somebody was signing in to all these sports events during the week as me. And it meant that because whoever it was apparently fucking brilliant
really good
at sports. I get given them in the mornings. They'd be like, oh, Matt, there's another award for you. You've got gold in basketball or something.
Amazing.
Yeah, I got loads of awards.
That's funny.
I was a prime student. And I have no idea who the fuck it was.
I really like that.
It always made me laugh.
That's nice.
AC Godliman asks, actually, it's the second part of a question. I go to the question. Sorry, Mr. AC. He's saying, basically, he was just saying about how he's much more forgiving of false choices in game stories now. He's had a go at writing interactive fiction using Twine, which is pretty much just echoes what you were saying.
The more I imagine the different choices, it is from the second you do a choice, think, I've done one box. No, I've done 3 boxes. Oh, fuck, I've got to do 7 boxes if I want to make any more choices.
You know what?
15 boxes? Fuck this.
There was actually an amazing talk at GDC last year by one of the guys from Inkle, who do things like 80 Days and Sorcery, I think it is. And they basically, obviously, their bread and butter is having these branching story games. And they were explaining how they were how do you do it? How do you do it? You have these endless trees of options. And he's like, well, the truth is you just don't. You have lots of different choices, which all then converge to 2 things or 3 things. And you sometimes, basically they said the way they do it is they have like, for people who are difficult, they have like little branches where they can let people keep going on for a while, like keep going off on one as if they're like going to discover something really weird, but then they take it back.
That's probably a classic mistake with things like, well, I actually, when I was playing Citadel of Chaos, the Final Fantasy, not fighting fantasy book, I mapped out the first few pages, and I did notice that there was a bulb thing. There was a courtyard, and there was 3 paths through the courtyard, and I mapped out then I got to a gate, and everyone, well, what you did, if you didn't die, you got back to the same one. And that was a bit of a mind blower for me.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it works. It's like you do give people choices sometimes, but it doesn't actually branch off as much as it appears to. You just cheat it. But actually, I don't know if that's online, but you can watch some of the GDC talks, and that was a really fascinating one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not completely... I did sort of kind of twig that there were tricks to it. I wasn't expecting that like after 7 choices there'd be like 128 and it'd go exponentially forever.
Oh no, of course. But they found some amazing stuff in terms of like feedback that they could like make players feel a lot more engaged and a lot more believe in the choices a lot more. They were talking actually
anything sort of more impressive than the good ending, bad ending.
Yeah.
And UFO ending.
Yeah, there was the bit that they mentioned which actually I had clocked when I was playing. Was the bit in 80 Days where there's a cruise, and I won't go into the stories because if you haven't played 80 Days, you've really got to it. It's phenomenal. But there's a bit in the cruise where basically it does something involving an item, and it uses an item that you've got on you, and it makes you feel like there's just been. It basically tricks you into being like, oh my god, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't got that. And it gives you this sense of causality, but actually it's rigged in a way that, well, if you didn't have that, then it would have done it with something else. But it is still really clever because it means that obviously the second time you go through the game, you clock it and you go, oh, I see, it's a trick. But the first time it's really impressive because you're just sitting there going, ah, and it's funny how you can just have these like little tiny details. They were talking about how basically if you want to have a game where consequence feels real, you don't go for the big things where you have like, you go for tiny details that just show them you're remembering stuff, and you just say, oh, we remember that. We remember that little thing that happened there. And actually, players are weirdly more forgiving if there's a big choice that ends up being that they didn't actually have a choice. They're more forgiving of that as long as every now and then, as long as...
it makes them feel like it.
Yeah.
Back when I was in the industry and I was interviewing the people for Human Revolution at Deus Ex, they were talking about how they were happy to write these fake emails and stuff like that for the 5% of people who'd find them, because for those 5 people, it would create the sense of passionate sort of investment in the game that that was their reward. And obviously people will talk about it as well online these days. Maybe they weren't bothered before the internet.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thing. Well,
people can disseminate it through it now, and they can just come out with the choice stuff and say, oh, this is really interesting, and like compile it and put it on Reddit, which is kind of cool for people like us who can't be bothered to read everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, it's interesting actually. I really love GDC for that sort of thing. It used to be like that with interviewing devs, and actually it's one of the main things I miss about being a kind of proper journalist is getting to interview all these amazing, talented people. So it's always good to
frequently hot as well.
Yeah, I didn't find that as much, but you know.
Yes, that's one advantage for a gay man in the games industry.
A lot of dudes. A lot of dudes. Jimmy Robinson asks, this is a tough question. Would you play Metal Gear Solid 6 if Nigel Farage was the main character? Just imagine his grin in the helicopter. But the same fixated grin, but with sweat and soil and a really look of sweaty. Like he's a broken man who's lost everything.
He's just there picking his ingrowing toenail.
And it just comes off in his hand and he goes, oh.
Actually, I can just...
Not even upset, just like, what's wrong with my body? Why is everything betraying me?
I now have an image in my mind of that press conference. For those who don't know, Nigel Farage was a leader of a fairly racist UK political group called UKIP. Well, you know, they're not always racist, but they're uniformly quite
certainly xenophobic to the point of racism.
Yeah. But there was a fantastic point where he didn't actually win an MP seat, a political seat in his own constituency, and they had a very awkward press conference where they clearly were expecting celebrations. Yeah. And he was just stood near the sea on a cliff somewhere, and it was windy, and he was just basically going
on a Dover cliffs, just bellowing at what he thought was France.
But now I just have imagined now in my head of that press conference, that depressing, weird press conference finishing, and him just walking off camera and getting into the helicopter and just sitting there
picking his toenails,
eating them.
Yes, we would.
Yes, I would play it.
I'd rather him be a villain.
I'd probably pirate it though.
An absolutely impenetrable villain.
Oh yeah.
One that you have to run away from forever.
Yeah. I want to play this game now. I want to kill Nigel Farage.
And I want to run from him forever.
Dun, dun, dun. One of us will. And finally, not a question, but Ben, sorry, pointed out, we talked about last... No, I've just said that wasn't me apologising. Someone called Ben. That's his name. It's sorry. It's IE. We were talking last week.
Groovycron on Twitter. I'd want credit if you're reading out my question on a podcast. I'd want people to go, that was a good question. I'm going to go and follow him right now.
This is at Groovycron, and I'm gonna bump this. Basically, we were talking last time about the Ubisoftification of games and why so many games now are open worlds with fucking mini maps full of things to do.
Yeah.
What the hell happened? And he's saying he's been trying to push this term into circulation to describe a game using Ubisoft's open world model as a Ubislog, and I quite like Ubislog.
That's really good.
So there you go, Groovycron. There's me helping you to push Ubislog out into the masses. Who knows? It might catch on. And that's it for this week's episode of Daft Souls. As I say, next week we will answer some of the questions from the website, because a long time people have been saying, what can I do if I want to ask a longer question? When it doesn't fit a tweet. Now you can go over there. So if you want to ask a question for next week, put it in last week's episode's comment. That's confusing, I know, but deal with it. Deal with it. We will get the system up and going once we're going. And if you haven't been to...
What kind of podcast are you running?
I know, right? It's a joke. It's an outrage. This is all still a new thing. If you're still listening, then coolghost.net is a brand new thing. It's a site where we have videos and we have the podcast, and we actually have some really lovely people talking about stuff in an interesting way. So if you're a fan of the podcast and you want to go and say hello to people, then you can do that. And also, if you're a big fan of the podcast, then you might actually consider supporting the Patreon page for Cool Ghosts, which is patreon.com/Cool Ghosts. Anyway, we've been Daft Souls. I've been joined by the fantastic Gav Murphy. You got anything you done recently you want people to check out particularly? You think it's ace?
Just me in general.
Just you. Just check him out.
Just check me out.
Is Chimera Gav?
Chimera Gav.
I can't say it. It's Welsh.
CYMRO.
Chimera Gav.
I need a new Twitter.
I can't say that. I can't say Welsh.
Yeah.
You should call yourself Kanye Welsh.
Done.
Call yourself Gav the Games.
And joined by Disappointment on Twitter, aka John Blythe.
Hello.
And you should go to the King Billy.
Yeah, you should.
Nottingham.
It's a lovely pub.
Booze.
We do have nice games nights for second Monday of every month. I'd like to make them more frequent, and I just like you there to tell me what to do. Come around.
Yeah, if you're on the Nottingham area, do pop along and say
flirt with me. I want to feel sexually alive. I've been having trouble down there. Oh no! Oh, shut up.
He hasn't really had any trouble down there. It's been firing like a rocket on 8 cylinders. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.